guys, welcome back to another video on my channel today. We're back on iRacing. Like I said, I want to get all these videos caught up on. I've had some amazing races on iRacing, and this race we're starting from pole position. Didn't really go to plan at the start. This was not my fault. I think someone exploited something in the game. I'll let you guys see see what you think happened here. So obviously we're taking the fuel off and the tyres off just in case anything happens in the race and we need to pit. And you know, if this happens and you have to pit, you end up in a situation which you're going to see anyway in this race. What happens, I obviously have to pit, as you're going to see from the title of the video. But starting from pole position now, when you get pole, my idea is that you dictate the start of the race. Obviously there may be something I did wrong, I'm not too sure. He said catch up to the pace car, so I did catch up a bit. And my idea is that they can't go over the line before you go over the line. That was my idea of how these starts work, that they can't just go and dictate the pace. Now you're going to see now, pace car is in, I'm holding back, and he's just gone. He's gone before the green light, and he's gone away. Now my understanding is that should be a black flag, because he's gone over the line before we have pole position. As you can see on the bottom right, we were pole. And I think that, in my view, that's cheating, but I was really wound up at that point. I do stay calm the majority of the time, but that really did wind me up, because I had pole, I deserved that pole, and he glitched the start in my view. I think he should have at least just give that position back, because he clearly, in my view, he glitched the start. I mean, unless there's something I'm missing from the starts, but you can see we had the pace anyway straight up. We caught straight up to him. And this is where my anger kind of took over me a bit of what he did. Although when I show you the replay at the end of the race, you're going to see that I don't think it was as bad as what I thought at first. I thought I'm going to just dive bomb here, because I'm not having him take that position on me. So I went down the inside, got the car slowed down into first gear, and he just turned in on me there. And this gave me some severe damage. You can see in a minute. It felt alright at this stage. And then it's going to come up in a minute. I think it must have hit something there. Something must have went there. You can see there the black and orange flag. We've got a pit, so we had to go in the pit at this stage. But when I show you the replay of that, you're going to see how much he turned in on us there. He left the door massively open. We were in that position in first, and he just shut it and closed in us. So not only did he cheat on the start, he then decided to hit us into that corner. But we're going into the pits. Obviously, I've already got all the tyres off, the fuel off, so luckily I'd done that before the race started. It's a little point, make sure you always do that before any race. I was tempted just to quit at this point and think, you know what, there's not much point, we're going to be down in last place. But I just thought I need to save as much iRacing as possible. The bottom half of the field were not very fast. I noticed that in qualifying, they were not the best drive speed wise. So the idea was get in the pits, get out as fast as we can, and just see if we can make up any positions. You can see there we're quite far down now on the field. I think we must be approaching nearly last place. There's a guy behind us in the pits. We're out the pits, and now we've just got to attack the course and try and make up as many positions as we can. And you know, this isn't the easiest track to overtake on, but there is opportunities on this track, especially with this car. If you're faster, if you're not much faster, it's very, very hard to overtake on this track. But we didn't give up. We set on our way to just see if we can get, top 8 position, whatever, top 7 position, just to try and save a bit of our iRating and just see what we could do. I mean, it took me a little bit of time just to settle down, because I was a little bit annoyed still, because I knew this race should have been mine. I had pole, I had the speed to pull away from the guy who jumped the start in my view, and we just decided just to see what we could do and fight back as much as we could. So you can see at this point we're just trying to settle into some kind of rhythm. It is hard to do, I find, once you've had an accident like that, and you've had an accident, someone's jumped the start, you're angry. It's very hard to settle back into a rhythm. So we just set about doing it. This wasn't my best race, to be honest. I mean, this was about a couple of days into the week when this week was on, and we eventually got down into I think we might have hit a 1 minute 29.1 or 1:30.1 in qualifying, and we started getting to some really good pace. We had a good race with the guy who I think he's second or third in the championship, and it went through to the last lap. We had a battle where we were battling out on the last lap, and then he hit us into the corner, and he did try and let us back pass, but the guy behind him wasn't playing, like, he just wanted to get the win, so he ended up going over the line first, and he did apologise to us, so I was okay with that because he apologised. He was really sympathetic about it, and he took me out, but I wasn't going to hold a grudge for something that I don't think was deliberate, because we had great racing all the way through the race. It was the last lap when everyone gets a little bit more aggressive, but you can see now we've managed to catch up the back markers in this race, and these guys shouldn't be that difficult to overtake, really. You can see now we're approaching this guy now. We're a bit too far back to really throw a move up down the right, but he's leaving the door. He brakes so early there, so I know if I get a chance on any braking zone, I'm probably going to be able to get him the braking. It looks like he's pulled over a bit, but I think he actually went slightly defensive, if anything. So we're just trying to hold an outside line, but we're going to try and get a clean exit now on this corner to make sure we can try and go down the left hand side. You can see there we actually got a cleaner and tighter entry. I didn't really want to do that corner. We actually managed to get another position there on the inside as we braked a lot later than them two, so that's 2 positions gained straight away, which is nice. And you can see the guy in last actually spun it on that corner, so we managed to get 2 positions back very early on, which is nice. Didn't get held up too much by them, which is always good when you're trying to fight back. You don't want to be getting held up and losing 2 seconds a lap, etc. So you can see by my driving style, I'm attacking the course. I'm probably not driving as fast as I would if I was just out in the lead driving smooth, but because I just really wanted to go for it and get these positions back, I was trying to push really hard. And at this point we hadn't you can set your brake bias on this car even though it's a stock setup. I eventually got the brake bias a little bit better towards the end of the week, and we were a lot more competitive. I can't remember exactly what we did. We might have I can't remember if we put it up to, I think it was like 52.8 or something like that. It felt really nice. I think that's what it was. It was either that or 53.1. I can't exactly remember, but we found the setting and it really works for this car for the type of corners on this track. But you can see now we've got about, I think there's about 3 or 4 cars up ahead, and we're closing in on them very fast. You can see the speed advantage we had, but it's just about getting past these people on this track. Like I say, if they're not very fast, you can normally just do it in the braking zones with this car, because a lot of people are quite hesitant on the braking. I do find that blipping the throttle on this car on every downshift gives you a massive advantage in terms of how late you can brake. If you don't do it, it just doesn't allow you to downshift, and the rear doesn't stay as stable. But if you blip that throttle, you can brake and downshift so much faster. You can see how much we've gained already onto these guys now. I think this guy might even going to be letting us pass. I can't really work it out at this point. No, I think he's just driving a bit slow. So we're going to go down the inside and just have that position, because I'm not waiting behind him. So we went straight past him. I think I actually took him by surprise there. I don't think he knew we were there. You can see he come up the back of us, probably a bit shocked that we went for that move. But like I say, I'm trying to get some save some I rating and not lose too much, because I was on a bit of a roll with this car. We had got ourselves up to a 4K I rating, and considering we've only been on the game for like 3 months or so, you know, we didn't want to lose it. We were about 3.8 or 3.9 I think at this stage. I'm actually a bit lower now, because obviously starting off on the other cars that we're not used to, we went down a bit, but we raised it back up a bit now. We're back up to approaching the 4K mark, and hopefully we can just keep increasing that I rating. So you can see now we're coming up to more cars. It looks like there's a bit of quite a few cars up in this. I was actually quite happy with how this was going, because I could see that we've made up a few places already, and we've got at least 3 or 4 more cars there. So I always find if there's cars that you can see, it gives you the motivation to just keep on going and keep on pushing. You know, a lot of people would have probably give up at that pit stop and just gone in the pits and just thought, I'm not even bothering, and lost God knows how much I rating. But I decided to keep at it and see how many positions we can get back. And also, it'd also make a great video like this if we can fight back a few positions. You see, I think that guy actually let us go there. I think he knew. Obviously, he's seen that we had pole, and there was just no point holding back someone who's faster, because he's going to end up slowing him down if he does that. So he let us go nicely there, and now we're coming up to a few other cars, and we're going to have to see if these guys are as nice or if they want to fight it out a bit. You can see we've got a much better exit there, and we're going to get on the power as early as we can, but obviously because we took a bit more speed in the corner, we didn't get as much exit speed. But I'm going to have a little look down the right hand side. You can see in that top right hand corner, having a little look, letting him know I'm there. So I'm going to go into this corner a little bit wider and try and cut back tighter. This gives me a better exit now, and then I'm going to go down the left hand side, you can see there, but no, I can't do it. But the only thing is, because I went down that left hand side, he's obviously panicked a bit and just gone into that corner far too fast, and we've scared him out of the way. So that's 1 position gained. It's always a nice thing to do, that is just have a little look on the inside. don't actually go for it, it just sometimes puts people in the position where they get pressurised and they make little errors on braking. So we've got one more position back there, and we're fighting our way through the field. You can see I don't think we're into the top. I'm not sure if we're around 9th or 10th at this stage. I forgot to move the position down on the right when I was racing. I was just in the zone trying to get myself as far up the field as I physically could. So we're now approaching 2 more cars there. You can see battling it out. This is the only problem. It's quite scary when you're coming up to 2 cars and you're not sure how hard they're fighting and whether they're going to know you're coming. Sometimes people don't use the rear view mirror, they're just concentrating on their race and they don't always know you're coming back through. Obviously we're not lapping anyone, so they're not going to have any blue flags. They're just going to know by the deltas and whether they use a mirror or not. So you can see closing in again, trying to push as hard as we can. The laps aren't amazing at this stage. You can see we're quite way off our lap times, but we're working our way through traffic, so I'm not too worried about the lap times. It was just about getting our way through this traffic as fast as possible. So you can see now we're going to have a little look now. We're going to have a little think, but we're too far back there. There's just no point even going to the right hand side and making ourselves shown. So I just want to get a nice clean entry into this corner, get on the power as early as we can, just so we can maybe have a look down. Like, see, he made a little mistake, so I was opportunistic there. Decided that was my corner, I'm not going to wait behind him. Seen his back end go very briefly, and I know with this car, because it's default setup, everyone has to run the traction control on quite a strong setting. So once I seen his car go like that, I knew that his car was going to bog down, and I went down that inside line and took the line, and that won that position again. So you can see the guy ahead had a little issue coming out that corner. Sometimes that was possible, getting on the power a little bit too soon with this car. Tended to lose a bit of traction at the end, but it looks like he got away with that. He didn't lose too much time, so we've got to just concentrate on getting past the guy driving this green car now. So you can see we caught up massively straight away. You know, we're working our way through this traffic. So far we've been really lucky with how fast we've got through a lot of this traffic, and I don't know if he's just feeling a bit of pressure, but he's driving quite erratically, and it's always quite nervous when you see people driving like that and you're coming up to overtake, because you just don't know whether they're going to make a little mistake as you're going past them. So we're staying to the left hand side because we want to get a nice clean exit from this corner, because sometimes if they have a little issue on traction coming out this corner, you can make a move down the right hand side. So he's had reasonably good traction coming out that corner. Now we're just going to try and get a nice clean exit from the final corner to maybe make a move down the into the turn 1. And you see we got a really nice exit from that corner, so we're going to get in the slipstream and go down the right hand side. I wanted to make that position mine, so I instantly went down to that inside line, made sure he couldn't defend it on the inside, brake later than him, take a nice tight line in the inside, make sure he can't do any cutback, and that position's ours as well. So that's another position gained, and we're really working through this field really fast at the moment. We've done a great job getting through the traffic. We had a little bit of issue on the rear end there. You can see as we got on the power a little bit too soon, but we didn't lose too much time. So we've got to see if we can catch up another car now. Let's see how far away he is as we come out this right hand. Another tricky corner, so you've really got to work, especially in this car, because it's got a lot of power and it weighs a lot. It tends to just want to just pull out on the rear end there. So you can see we've got about 3 or 4 more cars up ahead now. Whether we're going to be able to overtake all of them, I'm not too sure. You know, this was a full field race. I think there was like 20 odd cars in it, so I don't know how many cars we've already overtook. I think we were down to about last but 1, but there was also a car or 2 in the pits that looked like they had an issue at the start. So maybe I think we might be in the top 10 at this stage, and we're just going to have to try and fight through these cars up ahead. It's going to take a little bit longer to, you know, as we get further up the field, each car's a little bit faster, and it's just going to be a bit harder. You can see these guys have got a bit of a gap to the one behind them, and then it's just going to be a case of just reeling them in and then making the move when we can. So you can see, trying to keep our laps consistent, trying to keep the car smooth. We're in a bit of a rhythm at the moment, because although our lap times are not great, we've had to do a lot of overtaking. We're putting in some okay lap times, considering we're doing a lot of moves in these laps, and we're just trying to keep it clean and just save as much as we can with this race. So braking late again, taking it tight to this apex, getting on the power as early as we can, swinging the car back over to that right hand side a little bit, then just lifting off and letting it coast into the corner. Then once you feel the grips there, on the power nice and early, as you can see there. See on the delta, we're not too bad off our best time there, considering we're quite a few laps into this race and the tyres are probably not in their best condition. Braking just before the 50 on the left there, going down into second gear, trying to let it stay tight to the apex, and then on the power as early as you can. You see there, you've got to kind of put about 80% power in at first when you're coming out of that corner, because if you just go flat out on the throttle, the traction control kicks in and then you lose so much time down this straight. So we did that corner reasonably well there. We're still just around the second off our time. You can see we took that corner nicely, got into the apex really cleanly and let it coast around that corner, and we've actually caught these guys up very fast, a lot faster than what I expected. So we got, how many cars is that ahead? We've got, I think there's 4 cars ahead there, but like I said, I don't expect, you know, at this stage I don't expect to overtake everyone, because it's very hard to get past some of these other guys because they're a bit faster. And also I noticed again, these 4 cars are very close and they're going to be battling, and whether they're going to know I'm coming up, it's something you've always got to think about when you're racing. You could surprise. You can see there he makes a move down the inside. I'm very opportunistic. You see there I had to lift. I really wanted to get either down the left or right there, but I just backed off because I thought you've got to think safety. You know, it's all well making moves, but you need to play it right. So I just decided to go down the right, brake very late, and just to hold the inside line. One thing I was able to do with this car is brake late and still hold my line. You can see there, giving him space on the left, but we're past and the move is done. Now going through his fast left-hander, getting on the power as early as we can. We really wanted to get in his slipstream as soon as possible so I could try and make a move going down the back straight here now, as you can see. Getting in his slipstream, braking very late, trying to take a wider entry and then tightening the apex up as we're going through the corner. You're going to see how you have to be really careful on the throttle there. You can see the guy in front loses the back end, and look how much time that has lost him. We did it a lot better, got on the power nicely, kept it smooth, and you can see now we're gaining speed all the way down the straight, and we've got another position gain, taking the inside line, braking late, but just about in time so we can take the corner nicely, keeping the tights through the apex, and we've got another position gain there. So now I think we might be around the top 7 position now. It's going to be very close. We'll have to see when we go over the line. I can't exactly remember where that move put us, but you can see we've got 2 more cars up ahead, and we are working our way through this field really well. You know, we've had a lot of overtakes. We took some opportunistic moves, some that have been given to us by drivers that have just not wanted to fight it and just let us go past because they've known we're a bit faster. So we're now attacking these 2 guys. These 2 guys definitely look a little bit faster because you can see the gap they've got to the other 2. But again, we've caught them up very fast. We're not like we're definitely not so. You can see we've caught up by at least a second a lap, and you can see as we go over the line. Let's see what position are. We've managed to get in the top 7. See, we just got ourselves into 7th place with that move. So now we need to try and see if we can get into the top 5. If we manage a top 5 position from where after that pit stop, you know, that is a bonus. That's when I just wanted to minimise how much I lost in terms of iRating. But if we get into the top 5, you know you're normally going to gain some form of iRating, whether it's the smallest amount. But you know, it's never easy to get in the top 5 in some of these races when you end up in the pits on lap 1. Sometimes it's down to luck of how strong the field is. Luckily for myself, the back half of the field was not the fastest, so I was able to work my way through the traffic. You can see there we've got 3 cars up ahead. You can see on the map up ahead. We take it. He brakes so early there that nearly caught me out. It wasn't a dive bomb. I wasn't planning on making that move, but he braked that early. I just decided to throw it up that inside, and I think that might have been a back mark and stuck him in with that action there. And you can see now we're right behind this guy. I think we're either 6th or 5th. It depends what that position that guy was in. We're gonna have a little look down the left hand side, braking nice and late, and we've got that position as well. There was he didn't really put much of a fight up there. I don't know if he thought I'd make that move, but again, we braked a little bit later, took the position, and we made up another couple of positions, and we're going to go over the line and see what position we are now. I think possibly we might be in 5th or 4th. It depends what position. I don't know if that was a back marker that we overtook. Then we'll have a little look now as we go over the line. There's quite a big gap now before ourselves and the next car, so I think we might be 4th. I'm not sure. Let's have a little look. So we go over the line, we're into 5th place, sorry. So we're going to have to see if we can catch up any other cars in this race. You know, we're into the top 5, which is more than I expected from this race after that pit stop that we had to make on lap 1. And I'm really happy with how this race has gone at this point. I'm really looking forward to actually watching back the replay and seeing how it went and seeing some of the moves I made, because there were some nice clean overtakes in that with some late braking. You can see the back end wanted to get out on us there. One thing to do if it does feel like it's going to do that when you're in 2nd gear is just up into 3rd gear, put about 90% power into the throttle, and it just tends to come out the corner a lot smoother. So going down into this tight corner there, I did tend to go into 1st gear in the race. Sometimes in qualifying you were able to do it in 2nd gear. It depends how well you take it. And then getting on the power as much as you can. You really want to get this car in a straight line before you put maximum throttle down, because it's a default setup. It's got a lot of power and the traction controls on. If you try putting maximum throttle down when you're in lower gears, when you've still got a bit of steering lock on, you're going to bog the car down, kick the traction control in, and you don't really want that. You want the car to be accelerating as much as possible in a straight line. So you can see on this corner, like again, waiting hard on the power. That's how I tend to drive this car, and it seems to work very well. I did notice that the guy who was top of the championship, Ramos guy, on this track, his best lap I'd seen in qualifying from looking at his results was a 129.6, and we were only four tenths off that time. So I think it was 4 or 5 tenths off. So we're getting close to the top guy in this series, and I hopefully will be racing this series a little bit more next year. Now I've got that content, I probably won't put as much effort into this or the other like MX5 etc, because obviously I'm going to be racing the IMSA and the Blancpain GT3 and the Porsche Cup. The Porsche Cup is going to be a little less down on my priority because I'm going to be probably putting more effort into the Blancpain mainly, and then it'll be the IMSA is also probably a little bit less than the GT3, but I'll be putting the effort in obviously. So now we're just trying to catch up, see if we can get 4th place. I don't know if we're going to be able to get it. You can see there's a bit of a gap to ourselves and the guy in 4th, and there's only 3 or 4 laps left now. So we're just trying to drive clean, keep it smooth, keep our lap times consistent, and see if we can just reel them in very slowly. You can see we ran a little bit wide there, give ourselves a ×1 as we go wide on that corner, but I think we already had ×4, so that's our first. I think that's our first ×1 of the race, which is not bad considering this car can be a little bit dodgy on the back end. It can just want to kick out sometimes, so I'm reasonably happy with how we've kept it on the track at this stage. It was just that incident on the lap 1 that's given us quite a few penalties. So going through to the last corner, we've actually caught this guy up who's in 4th quite a bit on this lap. You can see it now as we're accelerating over the line. I don't know how close it's going to be, but before that it was around the 4-second gap, and we're going over the line this time and it's down quite a bit there. You can see we're only 2.4 seconds off the guy in front, so we've gained nearly a second and a half on him on that lap, at least a second and a half. So now we're just trying to keep it clean, and if we can get 4th place, that would be amazing. I think from where we were on the grid, I mean not from where we were on the grid, but what happened on lap 1, this race should have been mine. I feel it should have been an easy win, but you can't have it your own way every time. But I still believe that the guy who was in 2nd should not have done that on the start. I think that was, in my view, it was wrong, and he should have given that position back, or the game should have given him a penalty. That's my view, but we'll see how much we can see again now. Look how much we've gained on the guy from. This is what when you're seeing people gain, it gives you the motivation when you see how much you gain on people, just to keep going and keep pushing, and try and get that position. We've got a couple of cars ahead of this guy, but it's just getting harder and harder to get closer and closer, obviously with the tyres wearing down, the laps running out, and obviously I don't want to make any stupid errors just to throw away what hard work I've done. So we're now approaching, getting close to being able to make a move on the guy in 4th. So going into the last corner, you can see now he's going to go down that right hand side and try and defend. I thought at that stage, I thought he might have just pulled over to the right to defend it because he could see how much faster we were, but he's actually just took a nice line through that corner. I'm just going to try my usual line, keeping it tight, getting on the power nice and I have a little look down that left hand side just to make him think that I might throw it in there, and you can see he's very nervous about it. So that's one thing I do like to do, is just try and make them nervous, because even if you're not going to throw the car down that inside line, you've got a chance of putting them off their line and getting a better exit. So this corner now, it's always key to try and get a clean exit from this, and he's actually got a really nice exit on that corner. And frustrating for myself, it means I'm probably not going to be able to make a move on this lap. So we're going to have a little look though, try and make him think that we're going to throw it down that inside line, but then just get back into his slipstream right at the end there, just so we can get a nice clean exit from this corner. As you know, you want to make sure you tighten on that corner. You don't want to be running out to the left because you've got these two left-handers. But you can see he ran a little bit wide then. We've gone down the left-hand side, and we've just done another very opportunistic move. I've seen him go a little bit wide through that corner. We got on the power very early, and we've got another position there. So we're up into 4th place from pretty much last after lap 1, and we've had a great little fight back here. And I think there's probably only a couple of laps left now at this stage, so we've just got to make sure we hold on to this position, and let's just see when we go over the line. I think we're quite, let's see, guy in 4th, that was that guy. So there was about a 6-second gap to the guy in 3rd on the last lap. Let's see what it is as we go over the line, because we were battling with that guy and we lost about a second on our usual lap time, so I don't think we would have gained that much as we go over the line. So you can see we still gained about half a second even with that little battling and losing that time. So we still got, I think, this lap and one more lap to go, but I think there's just not enough laps in it. I was trying my hardest to see if I could get a top 3, but I think it's just a little bit too much out of reach. As you can see there, he's already round this corner, and we're going to just see how much we gain on him when we go over the line. So you can see how much we're attacking and how much we've actually pulled away from the guy behind us already. Look in the top right, you can see we've got a nice comfortable gap already. That's the one thing you always want to make sure you do, is try and build up a bit of a gap so they don't try and throw one back up. Yeah, mainly on this corner here, on this tight right. You know, dive bombing you into that corner, it's not what you want. Like, I mean, some people might say I dive bombed the guy in second who was in the lead in lap 1, but when I show you the replay footage, you're going to see why I made that move and why I think he shouldn't have turned in. Anyway, attacking the track still, we see we're only a second down on our best lap even at the end of the race with very worn tyres. Obviously the fuel's going down a bit now, but this car, once the tyres go to traction control, tends to kick in quite a bit, so I was just trying to keep it very smooth. You can see I'm not putting much power into the car until the car is straightened up. It's really a good idea to do with this car. It'll keep you more consistent and it'll keep your lap times down quite a bit. You can see we're going to go over the line much faster than what we did, nearly a second, 1.3 seconds faster than what we did in the last lap. So let's have a look what the gap is this time. The gap is now down to, you can see there, we've gained massively. It is less than 4 seconds the gap, so we've gained nearly 2 seconds on the guy in 3rd. It's so frustrating that this race wasn't just a couple more laps longer, because we could have probably, looking how much we've gained on the leader as well, we were gaining on the leader at least a second and a half a lap, and we probably could have, I think if it was a longer race, we could have probably got ourselves close to second, but maybe we needed 3 or 4 more laps. I think 2 more laps after this and we would have got 3rd, but you can see how much we're reeling the guy in ahead. This is the final lap though, so we're not going to be able to catch that guy. I think he's just keeping it smooth. You can see he probably knows we're a fair bit faster, so he's probably just trying to keep himself on the track and keeping it smooth, not driving flat out, just so he gets that top 3 position. But at this point I'm really happy with how this race has gone, other than the first lap. We've managed to fight back and it's been an entertaining little race. I really enjoyed this battle, going back through the field and fighting back and not giving up. It's really important that you don't give up in every single racing game, you know, especially iRacing, because actually if your car is obviously totaled, then you're going to quit and back out. You know, I've done it. If my car is totally wrecked, there's just no point carrying on. But if there's a chance you can still get any positions back, you always need to carry on and get what you can from the race. So we're going to go over the line and we're going to take 4th place, an enjoyable race. We'll go over the line. What do we finish? We finish, let's have a little look at the times there. We gained another nearly a second on the guy ahead, and we finished only 14 seconds behind the leader after having to go in the pits. I think we were about 23 seconds behind after the pits, maybe longer. I don't remember having a look and seeing, because we didn't have our name on there, but we were definitely quite a bit longer. It may have even been nearer 30 seconds. So we're going to have a little look at that replay and let you guys see. So you see he's got the door open, he's not turning in, he's not turning in. I'm on the inside, my car is past his car now, and look where he turns in on our rear of our car. I feel that was my corner. You may disagree, but let me know in the comments. I feel that was my corner and I should have had that. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that race. Make sure you leave a comment if you've enjoyed this race. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more races, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Thanks again for watching guys.